want to start with your attention here on this jar. Do you see this? Do you know what this is?
Looks like candies or snacks.
Unfortunately, the reality is much more grim. These are wristbands that the cartels force people to wear when they cross the border. And if you're not wearing one and you cross the border, the cartels will take a limb or an appendage. This is what these people are forced to wear, and it dictates what cartel they belong to, how much they have paid. And they are absolutely a part of the horrors of trafficking and smuggling that occurs at our southwest border. And I have to point this out because I want to tell the journey, because this has really been laid out in bits and pieces along the way by my colleagues. Agents have reported in official testimony that these kids have the numbers, the same phone number Sharpied on their arms time and time again. Now, we've heard, of course, of situations where the same sponsor is being called, and magically 20, 30, 40 kids end up with that sponsor. And again, I go back to your statement of we thoroughly vet. You've really emphasized that. Do you vet every member of the household? And does it include an FBI check? Does it include an Interpol check? I would hope that it would, considering that we've had 151 different nationalities cross the southwest border under the Biden administration. But I'm guessing that it doesn't, because only 9% of the UACs are subjected to a DNA test with their sponsor, less than 23% to a background check. And again, I should point out for the record the fact that you release these folks, these kids, to sponsors that are in the country illegally. By definition, they have already broken the law. Is it a standard operating policy to release children into the hands of sponsors in households that haven't been properly vetted and that are here in the country illegally?
I think I heard a question there, and so I'll try to respond because you packed a lot in there, a lot which I think has a lot of misinformation and that I disagree with. I could first start by saying that we do go through a thorough process on assessment of the child when the child first comes to our attention. So that
what is your I'm sorry, I'm going to reclaim my time. Secretary, what is your definition of thorough?
I mentioned it in a previous
Does it include
response.
a DNA test?
An assessment of the child's
No, that is not my
situation.
question. My question is, does it include a DNA test, yes or no?
DNA is one of the tools that we use on occasion.
In only 9% of the cases.
So look, the scariest thing about this video, the really horrifying thing about this video is the fact that these are people that are in charge of the border, that are appointed by the Biden administration, that have no real clue what's going on there. When you listen to Cammack share this horrifying story of basically quote-unquote adult sponsors having 30 to 40 children signed over to them to do God knows what with, knowing what goes on with the trafficking that goes across the border, knowing what goes on with the child labor that happens with some of these kids. It's actually really horrifying, honestly. In any partisan stuff aside, this stuff is horrifying, and I wish that I was hearing more about this, from Democrats and from people on the left, because they're the people that are in charge while this is happening. Now, we got a lot of photo ops and a lot of, photos of AOC crying, at the border and all that stuff when Trump was president. He was trying to do something about this, but it's crickets right now. And it is deeply, deeply sad and unfortunate, because I think that what's going on at the southern border is not a partisan thing. This is not something that you should just hear about from Republicans. It's not a Democrat-Republican thing. It's something that actually affects the entirety of the country. And it is horrifying that we have people that are appointed by this administration that are at that border and that have no clue what is going on at it.